Hey everybody, I hope you guys are all safe and sound. Um, we are going to continue with our lessons on netiquette, and I figured I'd give you a little video so that I could go over this presentation, which can be kind of tricky, but I want to keep it as simple as possible. We spent day 1 and 2 talking about netiquette and how the rules of netiquette apply. And you guys have had great responses about respecting other people's bandwidth, making sure that you're respectful of other people's emotions and time, et cetera, et cetera. And I wanted to jump into something that's also pretty important, and that for some reason digitally students have a hard time with, and that is we have a hard time identifying challenging um, what's called a confirmation bias and fake news. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about what that is exactly. So I want to show you through this presentation what that means. Before we can talk about fake news, we need to talk about what confirmation bias is. If you're not familiar with it, it's a prejudice. We all have biases. I put down the definition that bias means a tendency to interpret information in a way that affirms what we already believe. In other words, do we believe what we want to believe? The best way I can give you an example is if I have a bias, just a simple one. I may have a bias that all tall people are great basketball players, which you and I know that's not true, but it's a bias. They're tall, they must be great basketball players. If you're a Democrat, you may have a bias towards Republicans. If Republicans, you may have a bias towards Democrats. And that can be a problem, especially when we're trying to find the truth. And students and adults and professionals have a hard time finding that truth. So that's what a confirmation bias is, a tendency to interpret information in a way that affirms what we already believe. And again, here it is further explained. And by the way, I've shared this presentation separately. I just wanted to go over it with you. A particular tendency, trend, or inclination to, or opinion, especially one that is preconceived. That means you've already made up your mind before even reading. And sometimes it can be unreasoned. I mean, I just told you, if I think that all tall people are great basketball players, that's unreasonable. That's not true. Why? Why should you believe that? Let's move on. So when we talk about confirmation bias, we need to talk about fake news. In this world that we live in today, identifying what's fake and real is really difficult. Even the professionals have a hard time with it. So you're looking at 3 taglines here. I want to show you. Here are 3 taglines. The first one is Japan finally, these are headlines, it says finally abandons microwave ovens by 2020. Okay, how do we know that Japan really abandoned microwave ovens? And microwave ovens, as you know, everyone uses them. Really? They all abandoned them by 2020? I don't know. Is it real or is it not? I don't know. How about this one? A new iPhone will come with a holographic keyboard and projector. Oh, that's really cool. Again, I don't know. I'm just looking at the headline. Next one. Look at this one. Australia to introduce 33 different genders on passports. Really? And again, one of the things you're going to take away from today's lesson is we have to question everything. We can't just say, oh, that must be true. No, you have to dig for information, which is sad. And I want to tell you, it's really hard to find out the truth. But there are tools we can use to help our lives, to make it easier. So let's move on. So this, I'm not going to show you the video. You're going to get it. You'll be able to spot the video when you download the presentation that I'm showing you now, and I want you to watch it. It tells you 5 ways you can spot fake news. You're going to be answering some questions related to that later, but again, real good video. So I listed some 5 ways that you can spot fake news. It's related to the video. There's a couple things here that the video doesn't go over, and there's some things in the video that aren't in here, but that's okay. One way to fight fake news is check the URL. Okay, URL, Uniform Resource Locator. It's just the website name. Don't worry if it's fancy. Check the URL. The URL is what's the website name. So sometimes it'll say, like, for example, CNN.com. .co or .ca. You're going to notice that on the video you're going to see they talk about this and how to identify fake websites. Um, the other thing is, how many sites is it on? Is it on a bunch of them? Is it just on that one site? Did you just see it on Facebook? I got to tell you, Facebook and Instagram were the #1 social media platforms that were the primary platform, and Facebook more than Instagram, of course, that got hit by fake news. Remember that confirmation bias? Facebook is already programmed to give us stuff we like already. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we already have biases. If I look for shoes on Facebook one day, well, guess what? Tomorrow I'm going to see 10 Nike ads. And again, I'm just making this up. But this is a problem when it comes to finding out if something's fake or not. It's giving us what we want to hear. So if there's a news article that's just on one site, maybe in Facebook, we could count it as a site, you got to question that. Okay, so just because it's there does not mean it's true. You know what they say, just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it's true. The second way you can fight fake news, okay, who says so? Why would they publish it? I have some notes on this, and I'm not going to exit out. I'll try to explain as best I can. Here's an example. Amazon owns the Washington Post, which is a very famous and widely renowned newspaper. So if Amazon was doing something wrong, and let's say that they're not paying their workers well, what likelihood is it that Washington Post is going to publish that Amazon has really poor paying jobs? It's debatable, but a lot of people say, well, Amazon, they own it, even though Amazon says they would never do that. You want to find out, okay, well, did everybody say that Amazon pays poorly, or is it just CNN? Now, if you see an article on the Washington Post and in the New York Times, the Salinas, California, and you see it a bunch of places, then you can kind of corroborate and think, okay, that must be true. So anyway, who says so? Why? I'll give you an example. If Fox News, which if you don't know, Fox News leans conservative, which is like Republican. If Fox News says that Trump is the best president, well, and you see an article that has a graph saying that he's the best, well, you might want to question that. Go to CNN. You have to go to New York Times and check other places. I want to see who published that graph. So again, who says so? Why? And you have to question these things. Number 3, this is an easy one. Especially if you go to Facebook, check the comment section. People are pretty good, and some people will do the work for you. If a lot of people are calling the article fake or misleading, guess what? It's probably fake. Another one is, you'll see this in the video. You can check the picture. You can drop a picture off, the headline picture. If the image appears a lot of places with different headlines, guess what? It's probably fake. And again, the video will address that. Finally, question everything. Why? Why should I believe that? You should always ask questions. How should I know? Check a couple spots. And again, even professionals get faked. You should know that. It's not simple. So yeah. And the last thing is, I'm going to be posting for the assignment on the presentation I'm going to share. Remember, I'm going to share this presentation separately. I want you guys to answer this question in a threaded discussion. And what I mean by threaded discussion is you guys are all going to comment on the side of that Google presentation. And I want to hear you guys talk to each other. I'd like to see each of you respond to each other at least once, at least one time. And I'll give you points for it. I'm going to give you 10 points for this assignment. Does your confirmation bias, here's the question, and you're going to get it. Does it help spread fake news? Does the fact that you already have prejudices help spread fake news? I leave that up to you. There's no right or wrong answer. And that's pretty much it. Folks, if you have any questions, students, I hope you guys are safe. And if you have any questions, please email me. You've got the number I posted in Google Classroom. You can even text me. I've got my phone here. Feel free to do that. And I'm sorry I went a little long. I was trying to keep it shorter, but it's kind of a big deal. This is a big lesson. So consider this your lesson for the day, and we're going to be commenting on it in the next day or so. Okay? So stay safe and keep 6 feet of distance. Stay inside. Bye-bye.